Welcome to Monday Mumday. We're Joey and Emma,
bringing you a new,
real,
raw parenting podcast series.
talking to experts,
Celebrities
parents,
and influencers
to shine a light on the areas of parenting that are overlooked
unspoken
or not Instagram worthy. We say that every day is a Monday for a mama. Please subscribe,
like,
comment,
and follow our journey on Monday Mumday.
Joey Kendall Brown.
Emma Soraya Beard.
Thank you for listening! Hello and welcome to Monday Mumday. We are so excited to tell you guys that this episode is sponsored by Nano Baby.
They are such a brilliant brand. They've just launched in the UK. They have designed the first baby bottle specifically for breast milk. So ideal for all you mamas out there who are breastfeeding and expressing.
Nano Baby epitomises everything that Monday Mumday is about, preparing and empowering parents.
Its unique design means it both cools down and warms up twice as fast as a standard shaped bottle, so it helps preserve the nutrients in the breast milk. And its breast-like shape means it's easy holding for little hands.
It's super simple to use as you can pump directly into the bottle as it comes with an adapter that fits most pumps, so no chance of spillages.
And finally, the bottles can stack on top of each other for easy storage in the fridge. Such a smart design.
So whether you want to get your partner involved, you're struggling with feeding, have to return to work, or just need a break, it's the perfect companion on your breastfeeding journey.
It's available in John Lewis, Mamas and Papas, or on Nano Baby's website at nanobaby.co.uk. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Monday Mumday. I'm Emma and this is
Joey!
Today is my turn to get so excited as we have Chloe Gill, phenomenal X Factor dancer turned glamorous farmer, loving wife and wonderful mama to two beautiful kids, Ace and Kiara. Today we're going to be talking to Chloe about breastfeeding, from her most raw and challenging moments to how it's empowered her as a mother, and is there really enough support out there for mothers to establish breastfeeding?
Chloe, thank you so much for joining us today. You are literally living out my dream on the farm and being a dancer as well. But firstly, can you tell us a little bit about your breastfeeding journey?
So I always wanted to breastfeed, especially I think I didn't have a great birth with Ace. I ended up having an emergency cesarean. So that really kind of saw me through that process of mentally going through the fact that I didn't want that to be. But I had a lot of support when I first had Ace. So I had a baby at the Portland.
Oh,
and
wow.
the support was insane. I have to say, they were phenomenal. They had breastfeeding experts. So I was really taught how to feed, which I think is the main key to breastfeeding, because you don't have the support. If you don't have the support, you don't know. So I didn't leave the hospital for about 5 days because of my birth. So I was constantly had all the midwives in. I was like, is this right? Is this right? How do I do this? So I was asking those questions all the time. So the support was really, really good. And I ended up feeding Ace for a year.
Wow.
He was quite hard to stop. He didn't want to come off my boob. I don't know if it's a boy thing. Maybe it is, because now he still loves the boob. Not even like in your bra.
Peeking down your top.
Yeah. Oh, mummy, he's got her boobies out. But yeah, he was quite hard to stop. Like, he didn't. I kind of was his comfort.
Yeah.
He wanted to fall asleep on me, or it was quite hard. I had to really get my husband involved to, you know, take him off me to put him to sleep, or even nap times. So that was quite a hard stopping. With Kiara, completely different. So I fed her. I've just stopped feeding her because she's just turned a year. So I'm finally starting to get my body and my boobs back. But second child, I didn't have a baby at the Portland second time. I went locally because I wanted to be around for Ace, and didn't get any support, because you know what you're doing. Basically, they think you know what you're
Every
doing.
baby's different though,
But everyone's different. But she has a really, really long tongue, and I really think that helps. Like, really long. So she was straight on, really good. I think better than him, but maybe because I knew what I was doing. So yeah, I've just finished feeding her. She kind of rejected me a bit just before. I said I'd go to about a year, just because I did that with Ace.
Yeah.
And I put her on full fat milk, but she kind of just didn't want it anymore. So that was a completely different experience, somebody kind of rejecting you rather than somebody needing you. She's not interested in me at all now in terms of my boob. She just looks at it.
She's quite independent
already. Very independent. So I really see a difference between boy and girl. But Yeah.
Did you make a conscious decision to stop at the year mark, or was that something that you just thought, right, that's when most people stop, or was it just that was the natural progression for the child? Like, was there a conscious decision in when you want to stop breastfeeding?
I think I wanted to get my body back with Ace, and I think having someone on you who's walking at one, and as well you can put them on full fat milk, and that's what I decided to do. So I think it was a good break, and it was nice to not have to be around and be on demand, basically, because that's what it is, and be able to go out the house and not worry that they're going to wake up and need a feed. So I kind of did a benchmark of a year, and I think one of the midwives said to me it'd be lovely if you could get to a year or even 6 months. So I didn't kind of put any pressure on myself, but I kind of in my head benchmarked it. So then I wanted to match that for Kiara. So I think because you only have a second, you're like, oh, I did it for the first. So
it's like a mum guilt thing.
It
isn't
is.
It?
It's like I've done that for the first, so I need to do that for the second. But she was a bit like, I'm not interested in you. Like, give me the milk. Where's the other milk? Like, you're not fulfilling me anymore.
Yeah.
So I think I just maybe marked it for myself.
Yeah. I think us mums tend to do that, don't we?
Yeah, for me, I mean, Knox really struggled with getting that latch because he had 90% tongue tie.
Yeah.
And like you, I was in hospital, so I had hands-on care and breastfeeding experts able to advise me. And actually, they introduced me to feeding nipples, or like breastfeeding nipples. I think they're called like covers or patches or something like that. And literally, they saved my life. Yeah. But was there anything that like helped you in your breastfeeding journey, like any products or anything like that?
So is it the Lansano cream? I lived in the purple one. Is that the one? You know the one I mean?
So. I do know
just
it's
really thick.
Yes,
really thick.
It's like gluey, isn't it?
Yeah. So I would be slapping that on because your boobs get really. So I think the first 3 weeks, I would say you are in agony.
Yeah.
But that goes. I know, and it's hard to get through that because you think this is never going to end. I've just had a baby. How do I get through this? But I always say to my friends when I try and help them and support them, it does get better. Like, it will get better.
I don't know, is it that thing where like you become used to the pain or the discomfort slightly almost? Obviously, if you get chapped, that's a different thing. But that whole motion, because I never actually, I did breastfeed till they were 12 weeks old, the twins. Now I had many dramas with that, but I never really got the pain, but I got that slight discomfort, and I don't know whether or not I just conditioned myself that it wasn't that painful, like I just got used to it. I don't know.
I think I was the same. I was more like mind over matter. And I kind of just thought, this is good for him and therefore I will do it. Like even, I think day 3, they say you get the blues, don't they? And I did like have a meltdown, and I remember all the midwives coming in, and I was just like, I don't want people coming in here. Like, I don't want people hassling me. I just want to try and do it on my own. He wasn't wanting to take a bottle anyway, and they were suggesting to do that with the tongue tie. But we got there.
I think that's one of the main things as well when you start feeding, to check if they are tongue-tied, because a lot of people don't know. So they then think, oh, I'm the problem. Yeah. Oh, I can't feed. But actually, no, it's the baby, and it's a really quick procedure to get changed or done or sorted. So then the latch is a lot easier. Yeah. But the main thing is to get that nipple down their throat, and that's what I was taught. So where your boob, your circle part, areola, that's the word. Like that needs to be covered from like the whole mouth, and then the nipple needs to literally be down your neck. Like that's how far you have to get your kind of nipple in their mouth, and that's how you get the latch, and you have to do it in their mouth. It's really open.
Because I got the latch, I felt like both my babies latched. Dylan would have breastfed until a year, 2 years. I would have happily carried on till 3. Honestly, I loved it that much. Maybe I would have changed my mind as I got older. Probably would have got teeth and everything. But I really did love it. But Ethan, they checked to see if he was tongue-tied. They said that he wasn't. But he has always struggled with breastfeeding. So I had one that was great and one that wasn't, and that was my massive issue. And what I found was that he would latch on, but then he would be on the breast for say 40 minutes. Within 10 minutes he'd be screaming like he hadn't even had any milk. And this went on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and he was losing a lot of weight.
Is he the hungrier baby now as well? I wonder if he just has a faster metabolism.
And I felt like I was basically pushed out of the hospital, and had experts come to the house over the first week who basically just said to me, oh well, you've just got to wing it. And I was like, that isn't
You can't wing
it with twins.
Yeah.
And so for me, my breastfeeding journey stopped abruptly, and I suffered really badly with depression because of it. But I had to accept that one was feeding great and one wasn't, and I had to just go, right, well, I need to get this baby feeding in some way. So I had to make that horrible decision.
Did you feel like you didn't want to carry on with one because it would have like created a closer bond between you?
It was that. It was mainly that I want them to be equal. And then what happens if, you know, breast is better than bottle, or bottle is better than breast? You know, I think they're both the same, to be honest. But when I first became a mum, I was like, oh, what happens if I do one for the one and one for the other, and then one's more ill and one's not? Then I'd feel that guilt. So I had to make a decision. He was crying for food. He wasn't obviously being able to get it from me. And so it was me that wanted it to be breastfed and not him. And I
was
thought,
it
well,
a particular boob?
I did swap them. I was told to keep them on one boob
so
designated to the other.
Wow.
Yeah, because they both sort of like would mouth the different in a certain way, so they were picking the breast. But then at one point they were like, maybe you should swap it because one breast is getting more milk because Dylan's been able to sort of draw the milk out and Ethan isn't. And so I had this massive juggling thing. But what I wished that there was someone that could have been round the clock for 24 hours so that I could show them what I was going through, which was feeding them every 2 hours round the clock for 8 weeks with no sleep. And having to express as well and find sleep in between that.
Did you have any help in the hospital? Because you were in hospital for a while.
I had preeclampsia straight after giving birth, and I was very ill. So we had to combination feed. So I think they had the bottle first, obviously, because I wasn't able to do anything. And then it was combination of breast and bottle.
Did you find? Why. Yeah, I think that when you start combination feeding, you've kind of... Well, I think other people kind of think, well, you've done it now, so what's the point?
Maybe. I don't know, but for me, it was a really, really challenging experience, overwhelming. I felt so sort of disregarded and sort of not cared for. And I thought, you know, the NHS to me when I was growing up was this amazing thing. And so now I'm like, there needs to be more.
You've been let
it's
down.
Not the midwives, it's the funding maybe behind that, but there needs to be more done. There needs to be more support for women because it's one of the most special moments. Bonding moments, whether you decide to breast or bottle, it doesn't matter, but if you choose to breastfeed and there's no support, Alan, then that's really poor.
It is.
Did you find that you like had any anxieties around breastfeeding, or did you kind of naturally fit into your own routine and establish your own kind of journey, essentially?
It was very natural for me, but I was just in the mind frame of, you are not putting a bottle in that baby's mouth.
Yeah.
And I think what somebody said to me, oh, it's just easier to put a bottle. I said, okay, but I'm not doing that because if I didn't want to give the option, because they say I'm not an expert, but they say it's easier to draw from a bottle than from your boob. So if you're drawing from your boob and they're just like, it's easier to get it from the bottle, I was like, I'm not putting a bottle in your mouth. So I didn't express until 6 months. So I did exclusive breastfeeding. Then I started pumping a few bottles, but I had a lot of milk. I then introduced it with a bit of water and stuff afterwards, so he got used to bottles then. But Kiara was just exclusively breastfed for the year. But I didn't have any really anxiety. It was very natural to me. That's why I try and support and help my friends as much as possible. My sister's actually due today.
Wow.
So
oh my gosh, and you're here.
I know, but I don't feel like
Take
it's coming.
Take your phone off airplane mode, please.
Coming for another few days. I think it's all right. I've been speaking to her, but I'm just there trying to, you know, make sure your cream's on, make sure, you know, you're like, how are your boobs feeling? So I'm just going to be there to try and support her. But that's what I try and do with my friends, just to try and help, because it's really hard and there's no one to talk to. And unless you go, is this the right way? Do you think they're latching? It's just having that person to talk to. But yeah, I didn't really have any anxiety around it.
My anxiety was I never could measure things. Like, I'm quite controlling.
That's hard.
So I felt like, is he getting enough? Like, he's only ever on for about 8 minutes, and he was actually born with liquid on the lungs. So I later spoke to someone about it, and they thought that maybe he couldn't feed for very long because when his stomach was full, he felt like he was almost suffocating. I mean, it sounds dramatic, but that's just how this person described it to me. And so she said he feeds little and often, so you can't really set a routine of like every 4 hours. And literally, I think the word routine is, as we were talking about earlier, is key, because it took me so much longer to get any sort of like stability in our whole household. And when you do establish that, they know they're getting their food at a certain time, all of that kind of thing, everything kind of slots into place.
Because some people do that baby-led, where they wait for the baby to wake up to feed.
Yeah.
I never had that luxury.
That was me, baby-led.
I did that.
Yeah, I would have loved to have done that.
Yeah.
Because I hated having to wake up the twins to feed them. And when they would say, you kind of semi-baby-led, wait till one of them wakes up to feed, but then you have to wake the other one up. So they're feeding at the exact same time, or you will never have a life, and it's very true. But I never had that luxury, so I always envy mums who are like, yes, we let them sleep as long as they want, and then when they wake up, and I'm
that
like,
would be me.
this is heaven. And when people say to me, nap when they nap, I'm like, are you kidding me? That does not happen in our household. But what a joy to be able to do that.
Twins is another ball game.
I know.
It's another level. It definitely is another level. But it's equally as hard being a new mum, whether you have twins or one. I think you're going to go through similar challenges.
The fact that you did 6 weeks as well is like amazing.
Yeah.
I always say to my friends, even if it's 2 days, even if it's 1 day, even if it's the first feed, or it's
that colostrum is the important bit, isn't
I just think it's amazing to do at any time.
Yeah.
So I try and say to people, don't be disheartened that maybe you didn't do it for as long as you planned, but no, your birth doesn't go to plan. Everything goes to plan. You just got to go with it, especially parenting. It's all about learning, and if that doesn't work, then you try something else. As long as you've got happy babies and full babies, then that's
so
all
true.
you can.
Yeah.
I think it's just trying to find that perspective when you're in the midst of that newborn
you put yourself
stage.
under a lot of pressure.
Was JB able to help you at all? Because obviously, if you weren't expressing until 6 months, was he able to?
So a lot of people say to me, "Oh, my husband's not going to be involved because how does he feel? Does he feel left out?" I bet he feels really left out because you never let him have a bottle.
Yeah.
He is so chill, and so he was like, "No, whatever is you want to do, Chloe." And he did everything else. So he would do the changing of the nappies, or he would do reading time, or he would do bath time. So there's so many other things that you can do. And I know they say feeding is such a big moment maybe for a man. I don't know the bottle, but he didn't ever put any pressure on me to feel like I needed to give him a bottle, or
he sounds like the perfect husband.
he is, honestly.
Did he
he's
mind
amazing.
losing, like, Andy sort of sees my boobs
Losing
as
his boobs. He was like, when
that
am I
was
getting
like the
them back?
biggest heartbreak for Andy. He was like looking at me like, can you please stop pumping? And like, it's the biggest turn off ever. And I'm like, well, I'm not trying to do anything.
No, we wouldn't say that. I'd just be sitting in the bed with that milking cow thing and just be like, here we go again.
Yeah.
But he's very happy that he's got his boobs back.
Oh, good.
Do you think, I know we've touched upon this, but about hospitals and not having a lot of support out there, what one thing would you want to happen, or do you think needs to happen to help mothers in that breastfeeding if they choose to breastfeed? What do you think we could be doing more?
The ideal situation.
Yeah.
I do think there needs to be more support for women breastfeeding. I don't know what that is. I don't know because I remember I was trying to take Ace off of me and I didn't know where to turn. I was like, who do I speak to? And I did call. There isn't a breastfeeding advice line. I spoke to someone there, but I mean, she just had a chat with me, and it was just another mum that she was supporting. But
this is what I did.
I do feel like there needs to be some kind of specialist, because when I was in the hospital at the Portland, the specialists were amazing. I feel that needs to come out, because I feel like there needs to be accessible to people when they're just to give somebody some advice. Or
I think you hit the nail on the head with it being like, you get quite a lot of support, like there's breastfeeding groups and stuff that you can go to initially in the early days.
But after, when that continues, where do you go? When you're a year, or maybe 6 months, a year down the line, and you maybe are trying to wean, like no one helps you with how do you understand the weaning process? When do you take them off, or when do you introduce the water, and when do you introduce it from the food, and when does it replace, like that? I think there needs to be some kind of support in that sense, and I do think there needs to be more.
I think it's practical, something really physical that they can be doing, coming and demonstrating or helping you. I know it sounds really ridiculous, but when I came out of hospital and I didn't know what I was doing, I happened to have met a twin mum on the road the day before I gave birth. I rang her and said, my breast pump, my American breast pump doesn't work because I haven't got the right adapter. She came to my house and she got me her expressing pump thing to help me get more milk for the boys. But then she grabbed my boobs and was doing this and doing that. And I'm not saying that do that when you're, 6 months trying to wean off, but having someone physically
You just need someone there.
Mm-hmm. For a number of hours to watch you do a few feeds to sort of guide you. I think there needs to be, I don't know how that's achievable, but that's what I think needs to
I
be
agree
in
with
place.
you. There definitely needs to be something, because even if you do get the initial support, when you're further down the line, you need somebody to talk to. I don't know what, maybe we need to do something.
I know. Well, we actually have done another podcast with NCT, and they do hold a lot of groups like that and coffee mornings and stuff. So there are places if you know about them.
Yeah, I did.
And exactly, that's my thing. It's the awareness.
Yeah.
Like I don't know anyone really in my area that's a mother, apart from people that are slightly maybe older. Their kids are like 15, or some of them are like 6 and stuff, and they're not in that place anymore.
But
so
I think as well, when you've had your baby, sometimes you don't want to go and talk to people about it, or
you can't
6
get out.
months, oh gosh, I
couldn't
can't
get out.
fit it in.
Yeah. I couldn't even get out the house for 4
those
months. Like, thought of going to going to an expert that's
with your baby
4
screaming
miles down the road. I can't.
No.
I haven't even got in my pajamas.
Yeah,
I haven't
agreed.
washed my hair in like weeks. So you need, like, when back in the day, apparently doctors used to come to your house rather than going to the surgery. You'd have a doctor come call in. But there needs to be a call-in sort of breastfeeding person.
There is that new app, isn't there, where you can Skype someone. I think you Skype them for like £35, and then they give you a consultation over Skype, essentially.
But I don't want to pay. I want it to be free. I want to be able to have access to free services.
I know. I agree.
It infuriates me.
And the thing is I know that midwives are putting a massive push on breastfeeding at the moment, but they're pushing you into doing it, and then there's nothing to support that.
after. And then you come to that appointment, and you're getting weighed, and it's like, oh, baby's dropping.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my goodness, what do I do?
Yeah. I think actually Knox dropped every time from the 50th to the 1st. Yeah. So we couldn't help it, basically.
I think when you go, they're the touch points that you must go to.
Yeah.
And the times that I went, I would come out feeling like the worst mother. I feel like, what am I doing wrong? They're not, weighing what they should be weighing. And it was this constant, it felt like you constantly being judged the whole, week by week. The only contact you're getting from the outside world, and it's judgment. That's how I felt. That's my experience. It might not be for everyone else, but that's how I felt.
But you just have to remember that you are doing the best job.
Yeah.
Like, even though you do feel like that, and it is a lot, you are doing the best job, and all that baby needs is you. So everything you are doing is what is perfect for them, especially if, like, sometimes if it's not perfect, and when with the midwife saying it, or whoever, the health visitor, that's all they need, is they just need their mum.
Yeah.
So
and it's just someone's opinion. That's what I kind of got really anti anyone's opinion. And I don't know whether you had a lot of support from your friends and your family and like your partner and everything like that, but I kind of didn't care and disregarded what every single person said.
But everybody has a different journey, and everybody's got a different opinion of how to do it.
Yeah.
So you can take on board what people say, but I do always take it with a pinch of salt, because that's their experience, or what they think. Obviously the health visitors and the midwives a bit more, you'd be like, okay, I need to do something here. But everybody has a different journey, and it's working out your own way, and you kind of have to do it yourself. You have to just say, okay, I need to take a step back here. This isn't working, so what do I need to do in order to make this work? So you just have to regroup, read your books, take a bit of advice from people, and then work it out your own little way. Because otherwise, if you take too much on, you do become really like, wow, everything's on top of me, I'm not getting it right. And if you are stressed, your milk's not going to come through.
No.
That's one of the main things. If you're stressed, if you're anxious, your milk isn't going to come through, and then you're not going to be feeding, then your baby's not going to be getting enough.
Did you change your diet in any way to kind of help? Because you said you have a lot of milk.
Yeah, if I got stressed, or my supply was low, or I felt like my supply was low, I would drink milk.
Really?
I used to have a pint of whole milk, and then my boobs would refill. But I have to say,
they say
Ace,
steak as well, because I did a lot of steak, and I made things called booby biscuits, which were oats and brewer's yeast.
Okay.
And milk, I think.
That's
and
cool.
Something else like flaxseed or something. And they did work as well.
But with Ace, I had a lot of milk. With Kiara, I didn't.
Really?
And I think that's the way they fed. She didn't want or need as much, where he did. He was very hungry. But I always say, make sure when you're feeding to literally, they always said to me there's like layers of the milk. So
Yeah.
there's the watery part, which is the first bit, and then you get the proper fat milk. So make sure you literally empty your whole boob till it's kind of a bit like, oh, there's nothing left, it's a bit sore, and then move over. Obviously, if you have twins, that's completely different. But then once that's empty, then you move over, then they kind of top up. So then you'll know that they're full, then they'll fall asleep. They do that sloppy
drunk
milk sleep,
milk
and then
bar
you can
drunk.
put them down.
Yeah.
But then go back to that second boob to make sure then that's empty, because that's
Yeah.
how you end up getting mastitis otherwise, if you're not
Yes.
emptying those boobs.
Yeah.
Gosh, I had mastitis actually. Well,
That
the starting
is
of it,
painful.
where I'd got a blocked duct,
Yeah.
and actually it was so painful. I did all the massaging, I had hot baths, I did everything like that, and I was starting to feel really ill. And I just got a pair of tweezers and ripped the end of my nipple off, and then it just squirted out, and I was fine.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
My
What we have to go
gosh.
through.
I know,
My
but like I
goodness.
just thought like. No one's doing anything here, and I don't think the doctor's going to do anything either. They just keep
Wow.
saying massage and do that, and that didn't work. So I just literally
Oh my
went,
God.
Wow.
and it instantly fine. Like the relief
Yeah.
of the pain after going through that.
Did you have to do that compression where you would push the milk out to?
Sometimes, because I had really I was full, so I'd be like, please can you wake up, because I need to feed you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would be really hard, so with Ace 100%.
Yeah.
But I'd just make sure he would feed it out, and when it got a bit later down the line I would then pump it out.
Yeah.
But then when you got to make sure with your pumping, your boobs is going to then, it thinks it's then having another feed.
Yeah.
So
So
then
they
you'll
produce more.
produce more. So then I'm thinking, okay, I've then got to pump at this time because I need to get it out and then
Yeah.
put it in the freezer. Honestly, my whole freezer was bagged up with old milk.
How
Old
was your
milk.
experience of breastfeeding in public? Like I know both of us kind of had a bad kind of time, and I literally didn't really like doing it. I had quite big boobs, and I felt like it was almost inappropriate getting such a big boob out, and like you can't really hide it. Not just rubbish at latching. So like
Well,
I
people
don't know.
just stare at you. But I was just a bit like, well, I'm feeding my baby, so
Who cares?
you
Yeah.
can't really. I did have quite a few bad experiences,
Did you?
but my husband would just be like, excuse me, my wife is feeding our baby. He's a bit
I love
like
that.
that.
Will
He's
you
like-
find like feeding in front of friends and in-laws and everything like that, or
I think you kind of just get a bit over it. At
Yeah.
first I was like, oh gosh, muslin over the face, don't let the baby breathe, basically. Are you on?
yeah?
But then I just had it all out, and I just didn't.
You do get to
You
that
get
point
to
where
that
you're like,
point.
oh,
You
well, I mean,
do.
after giving birth, which is pretty
Yeah,
much like
you do.
living your insides out.
yeah.
There's
Well,
not much
I was
else
still
to do, is there?
respectful. I would have one of those really big muslins.
You would try to be
and then I'd
discreet.
have it on. But
Yeah.
you just get to that point where you're just like, I'm feeding my baby, or I'd go and sit in the corner. So I'm not in somebody's face. I'm not.
It was more me, I think, than other people that I found.
But that sometimes stresses you. Then you,
Yeah.
as again, your milk won't come, and then the baby's distressed, and then you're then even stressed because you're out, and then you're like, the baby's not feeding, and it's all because I'm worried about everybody else. But I just
Yeah.
kind of was like, do you know what? I'm going to go and place myself in the corner, have my muslin, and feed.
There was times when I wished that I was an octopus and I had more hands, because when I was breastfeeding with twins on my own
Wow.
outside, there's no way that no one didn't get a few
No.
eyefuls of
Yeah.
my boobs, because it's just physically impossible. One would latch off, the one would latch on, one would
Yeah.
latch. It was ridiculous. I probably did it, I would count on my hand, probably 5 times I did it, and then I just thought, I can't be worrying about them latching on, other people watching me dropping the muslin, and it got too much.
But there's one thing that was new for when I had Kiara, which is just recently. It's called a Mamba bra.
Oh.
I'm not sure if you've heard about it, but it's a bra, right? So the top bit's like a sports bra.
Yeah.
So that, and it's black and white, so it's really good for the baby to look up. And then they have like a hole, so then you pop it down, so then you're not revealed.
Do you know what? I had a bra similar to that, but
Wow.
mine was lace. But that
Really-
sounds like
it's really
more
good.
comfortable.
So I would then think I've got a sports bra on. You wouldn't even know.
That's
So then I
amazing.
didn't
Yeah.
even use the muslin at that point.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, I needed this with Ace.
Yeah.
But with Kiara, so that's something that I've used recently that I lived in.
That sounds amazing, because one of my friends who I was out with last week, and I wish I'd asked the name, but she had it was like a muslin, but it had a circle at the top.
I've seen those.
So you can
like
see the
So you could
baby's
look
face.
down into it, but there was no way of anyone seeing anything. And I thought, I'm gonna have to find out what the name of that is. But that looked like a great device. Wish
How
I'd
is she
known
going to
about
take it everywhere? Like my thing is like when you have a newborn, like you think you need the entire world with you, don't you?
Yeah.
So like taking something like that for me would be like, I just can't. Or like my breastfeeding cushion, like everywhere. I like walk around the house with this breastfeeding cushion.
Mine looks like a settee, so there's no way I'm taking that out with me. It'd be ridiculous. But yeah, it is a challenge, breastfeeding in public. But you're right. You shouldn't feel nervous or embarrassed, but you do, because you feel vulnerable, because you've just become a new mum. You're learning all these skills, and then you're having to publicly learn them in front of people that you don't know. So it's gonna feel daunting. And then,
but you know, there are other ways of feeding. There's positions of feeding, which is what I had with this, because I ended up having a section. Going across, the normal way of holding wasn't right for me, and it was quite painful. So I ended up doing the rugby hold.
I love that one.
The way, but I obviously you don't like, what are all these different positions? So then he was there and like under my arm, but that helped for his latch as well. So there's not just one way of doing it. There's obviously different.
I love the lying down one actually. You know, where you just like lie down on the bed, and they lie next
middle
to you
of the night
and do it. That was my favourite.
It would be good to have little diagrams of the different positions, because I remember getting told about ones and I'd be like, I don't understand how it works. But the rugby one ended up, that's how I would breastfeed. Yeah. The boys would be under, but I never, because all the pictures you see of breastfeeding is holding across the
I just have visions of you now with like one over your shoulder, latched on one knee.
I think about it now, I think, God, if I was still breastfeeding now, they are, you know, trying to stand up and pull up and roly-poly, it would have, I don't know how people would do it, but I've got many friends who've got twins who are doing it and still breastfeeding way past a year, so I have to put my hands up to them, because it's pretty amazing, because just trying to get a nappy on is an effort.
Wow. I know. How do you think we should be empowering women who have decided to breastfeed, or alternatively not?
I just think we just need to be all, as mothers, individually supportive of what your friends do. That's even if you're breastfeeding or not.
Yeah.
I think you should just be there to be on the phone, especially when they're not having a good day or they're not latching, and especially if you've done it. So you've done it for 6 months and you've done it for 12 weeks. So 3 months. When your friend's having, like my sister's having a baby, all I know is I'm going to be there. She could do it for 2 days, she could do it for a week, she could do it for a year. I'm just going to help her through the processes. If it's I can't latch, or can you help me with this hold? I just think us as women and mothers need to help other mothers, because if there isn't necessarily someone to call or there's a support system, I think we can do it.
I just think it's fascinating, like we've grown these tiny humans,
it's mad, isn't
and then
it?
you continue to feed them.
Such a miracle.
Like I just don't know how, like I think it makes, like it's quite profound being in this building today, isn't it? But it just is amazing how we as women can do that and then continue to grow our children. That's why I was so fixed on doing it as well. Like I really thought, as a person, you can feed your child for free.
And I know it
just seems like
that's what I kept saying. I'm saving you so much money, Jane.
And really, you were, because we have spent a fortune on the boys' formula. Milk.
Yeah, I mean, we still give Knox formula now, and he's almost 2.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, and it's so expensive. I don't know how people afford it.
No.
I genuinely, especially if you've got more than one, because you know you could not necessarily twins or multiple parents, but parents who have had a child, like, you know, what was it, an Irish twin, or you have pregnant and you have the next one. It's so expensive when you you know, for people who can't breastfeed, whatever reason, or it's their choice not to breastfeed. It's so expensive, and you know, it just blows my mind. the expense of children.
I know.
And they say they're like 250,000 each.
I do.
Yeah, from being born to like 18.
Yeah.
I'm like, $250,000 each.
I mean, I would say we actually don't spend that much on Knox, but maybe we do.
But by the time they're 18,
we will have done.
Tally it up.
Yeah. All those little Nike trainers.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Oh God.
They're in for 5 minutes.
What do you love the most about breastfeeding? And were there advantages and disadvantages?
So the thing I love most is the bond. I do feel like it's my time when I just sit and hold my baby and I'm just feeding. I just love that. I love baby looking at you. I just think it's such a lovely moment, especially one of the first feed, when you've just been born, and then you're just, it's such an amazing connection. But yeah, for me, that's kind of my time with my baby, and I just love feeding. I'm just so passionate about it. It's something that I'm like, I feel like everyone, even as I say, even if it's for a day, just to experience is such an amazing thing. And what was
disadvantages or advantages to breastfeed?
I think there's definitely health benefits. Like if they're unwell, so Ace was unwell for a day and I would be like, right, that's it, you're on the boob for the day. So I'd literally keep feeding him and he would be better within the next day.
That's so true, actually.
Get a
it
cold
really works,
or anything. And then if you get conjunctivitis, just drop a bit of your booby milk in.
It's the same for eczema and psoriasis and all that.
Incredible,
honestly, whatever's in your boob is amazing. Like they have some kind of blemish or spot, not even a spot, but some kind of like
can you
eczema
use it on like
something.
nappy rash and things like that?
Anything. It's like gold dust. I'm like, where's it gone? I need to sell this.
If only it got rid of wrinkles.
That would be good.
It fascinates me because especially when your baby's not well, or it turns into like a bit of a medicine.
Yeah.
So that's, I would say,
that's
an
incredible.
advantage.
Yeah.
I don't really have many disadvantages.
Did you mind the way it changed? Because like for me, the disadvantage is I lost like what I felt was an incredible like body, and even though your body's still incredible, like my boobs aren't what they used to be.
No, because they're a little bit droopier.
A little bit.
They do come back though. Do you not feel?
Yes, but like I literally went to like an H or something like that, and they were like rock hard, solid, amazing, like fake boobs.
Beautiful. Yeah, I know. I lived for
like if only I could have worn a bikini all of that time. And now I'm just a bit like they're still good, but
they're not.
Why did I not love them like before I had kids, kind of thing?
Yeah, the fullness isn't there, is it?
No.
Yeah, I've dropped 2 cup sizes.
Have you?
And it's weird because I think there's lots of pressures out there to look a certain way, to feel a certain way, for women. And I didn't realise that I had body, I felt a certain way about my body until I had my boys. And then I had this like wave of pure love for my body and like, oh, I'm so proud of it. It's created life and look what it can do. And now I just love all of, even my boobs, they're small and they're not as pert as they were. I love them more than I did when they were big and bouncy and whatever they were before. Because now I'm like, wow, like how incredible are we as women to have produced such incredible children, and our bodies have done that. And I feel like I've got this new lease of love for myself, and I didn't realise I didn't have it before, but I definitely didn't have it before, but now I do, and I feel that's empowered me.
Yeah, 100%.
as well, which
I
is
agree
amazing.
with that.
Totally.
Do you feel the same?
Totally. I mean, you go and look at yourself in the mirror before you're like, oh yeah, I look great in my bikini. And I was a dancer, so my body was just
banging.
Well, I didn't feel it at the time. Even Jay says to me, you weren't even happy then.
I know, that's my whole thing. It's like,
so I say, I'm looking at photos and I'm like, gosh, don't I look good? And he's just like, you were moaning about you were moaning about that point. And I said, really?
Yeah.
Even at that stage, he said, you're just never going to be happy. Yeah. And I was like, wow, because I'm like, I would be so happy if I was at that point right there. And he said, well, you weren't at the time. You were moaning about maybe your bum or your legs or something. I was moaning about something. So now, as you say, I won't get out of the shower and look at myself. So I'm like, oh dear, little bit droopy there, or that bit's there, or that there's a couple of stretch marks there. But you do look at yourself differently. And I think as well, having my second, I look at myself even different, because I'm like, wow, I've produced these 2 babies through my whole body. Yeah. I mean, and I'm just like, it is what it is. Yeah. I can only make the best what it is. I can eat well. I can train, but I'm not going to look like I did before, and that's okay. But that's okay too.
It's that acceptance of where you are and what you've accomplished, and it just pales into insignificance, doesn't it?
It does, and it kind of is like your new look is kind of the journey of what produced your family, isn't it? So as you say, you should be proud of it.
True, that's true.
As you know, Monday Mumday podcast is all about how hard parenthood can be. What have you found the most challenging, and why do you think people don't talk about it?
I don't know why people don't talk about it. I even asked my mum, and she's like, well, you wouldn't have done it if I told you. And I'm like, I would have just liked to have been given a heads up. I say to my sister, my sister goes to me, I'm so glad you're giving me a heads up on these things, because I'm very real. I'll just go, well, you need to take all those maternity pads. You need to, because you will be bleeding for however long after. You're like, what? Nobody told me this. Your boobs are going to leak when you come out the shower and the baby cries. When you're standing out the shower and you're literally spurting out, you'll be dripping there and dripping there. Like, that just happens. It does, doesn't it? Like,
it does.
nobody tells you those things. I'm like, then you don't think, I'm looking here going, is this I'm the only person this is happening to? Is this normal? Like, then my sister's like, okay. She said, at least I'm now prepared. She said to me the other day, I now understand why you lost it for so long, because no one kind of said, that's going to happen, that's going to happen, that's going to happen. She said, I now know that's going to happen, and it's okay to feel like I'm going to cry or I get the blues. It's okay to do that. But I don't know why people don't tell you.
It baffles me. It really does, because I feel like there's so many things I wish I'd have known before becoming a mother. One being the sleep deprivation.
Oh God.
And
that's hard.
People talk about sleep deprivation, and I kind of, willy-nilly, but it's a form of torture.
It makes you go a bit insane.
And it makes you go insane.
They actually do use it as torture in some countries.
They do.
Like when you're up every few hours and then the baby doesn't go to sleep and you don't know what's wrong, and then you're holding it and then you're giving it to your husband or your partner or whoever, because you're like, I need 5 minutes because I can't cope anymore. And then you're walking up and down, and then you're like, what are we supposed to do? Why are we doing this? It's
sometimes they just cry, don't they?
Sometimes they just want to cry, and they don't want to cuddle, and they don't whatever, and then you kind of don't like each other. Like this is from experience with me and my husband, because you're like, we're so tired, and then you take it out on each other, and then it's just so hard.
That's the thing no one talks about, is how
so
difficult
hard.
it is with your partner. Because we'd never argued. We literally, I think we were so laid back as a couple about anything, that when it came to making these decisions, and they're quite profound decisions, aren't they? Like, you're basically deciding how your child is going to be when they're older. And like, we've sorted it out now, but that first year, like, I said left, he said right, he said right, I said left. Like, he could have said anything and I'd have been doing the opposite, because I felt like, as the mother, I knew, which I think is like kind of ignorant of me, and I wasn't willing to take on board his opinion, but I wanted to learn the hard way, which was my way, and kind of even if it took longer to get to a certain point, like with the breastfeeding or with the routine at night and everything, I just wanted to try before we did things like control crying and things, and that's what no one told me about.
And I think it's all these big decisions on no sleep that is horrendous. And I think that if someone had just said to me, Emma, you're not going to sleep for probably the first year, if not a bit longer, potentially. You might have a baby that sleeps through, you might not, but be prepared. And do you know what I would have done? Practically what I would have done is, instead of saving a couple of grand or whatever it was to make the nursery, buy all the stuff for the nursery, that money that I would have put towards the nursery, I would have left, because the babies went in the nursery until they were 6 months, and I would have put that money towards a night nurse, because we have no family close by. We haven't got, some
people would say something like a Chanel bag, because I deserve one.
Well, I do deserve one, but I would have put a chunk of money there so that I could have had that respite, because I don't think that I enjoyed the early stages of my twins, because we were wiped out. And that's one piece of practical advice I think I would have given, I would have offered, is, put a bit of money aside just in case you need that for the sleep. I mean, who knows?
I agree.
But I do think preparation, like you were saying about your sister,
she's
she will hopefully experience now.
You just need to know you're not going to sleep.
Yeah.
That's all you need to be told. Right now, when your baby comes, from that point, you're either not going to sleep because you're worrying. Are they sleeping? Are they breathing? Are they whatever? Do I need to wake up? Or you're not going to sleep because they're feeding, or they're waking up, or they're not going to sleep because you can't relax because you're worrying or whatever. Or you do sleep and then you fall asleep and then you feel like you're waking up again and you feel worse. So it is a period of a chunk of time, but it's a reality, and you aren't going to sleep for that bit. And that's normal. And it's okay to be tired. It's okay to be crying. It's okay to be feeling like you feel like death, which is you've got your hair on your head and you're still in your pajamas for 3 days. That's okay, because that happens.
They're all bathed,
We're all
you haven't showered in 3 days.
And that's normal. But it does. You do get into a routine. You can do if that's feeding or breastfeeding or formula. And then then they're 5, like Ace.
Mm.
He wants to be in bed at 7:30 and he gets up at 7. So it does.
God, I can't wait.
You do get there. But you do have to be strong in order to get there. It can't be, mummy, can you get in and cuddle me? No, you need to go to sleep.
Yeah.
You have to be strong, because otherwise that then creates other habits. And they're clever. They know.
Yeah, they're little
I
manipulators.
might need you to come to my house and sleep train Ethan, because at the
Are
moment...
you available for hire?
Yeah, I'm not getting any sleep with that one.
No,
And he's now in my bed.
They
Yeah.
do try it, and then they won't. Then once you get into a habit, then you've got to really try and get that out. But
If there was one piece of advice that you wish you'd been told before having kids, what would it be?
Wow. That there's the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, it's okay. It's a process, and you come through at the end, because you don't see it when you're in that. Oh my goodness, is it just me? Am I the only one feeling like this? And you feel awful those times. You do come back, and you come back into yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you lose yourself for a minute, and that's okay. But yeah, I always say that to my sister. You're gonna go through a process, but you will come back. If that's a year, if that's 2 years, however long that takes for you. It took me. I think breastfeeding as well takes it out of you, because you're physically feeding and someone's constantly needing you and wanting you. Not that they don't when they're not, but are physically on top of you, wanting your boob. It took me about a year to come back from Ace, and a little bit earlier with Kiara, maybe because I have Ace running around and I'm thinking of 2 of them. But you do come back.
Yeah.
And that's what
You
I would
find yourself
you do, because you do feel like, whoa, where's Chloe gone?
Yeah.
I'm not Chloe anymore.
I know.
But I can see the sparkle. Like, you are my hope, because you waltzed in here, you look amazing, you sound amazing, you've got the sparkle in your eyes, and I feel like I can't wait to be that again.
I know. I feel like I'm
still in the
there.
dregs. I'm in the trenches still, but you are like my hope, because if I can be like you immediately, then that'd be great.
Don't put pressure on yourself. You're only 10 months in.
I know, but it's good to know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
But that's what I'm saying. That's one of the things. If somebody said, "What advice would you give?" There is, because a lot of people feel like, "Oh gosh, is it me?" And then you're judging yourself, and then what am I doing wrong, or what's my husband doing wrong, or what can we do that makes it? There is. You come back, you feel better. You're like, okay, both of the children are in bed.
Yeah.
I can sit and breathe now. That was a good day.
I can watch Netflix and chill.
Yeah, no, it's true. And you know they're not going to wake up until the
Yeah.
next morning. So, yeah, there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, well, Chloe, thank you so much for joining us
Thanks for
today.
having me.
We've
It's been a
absolutely loved it, and as Emma says, you've given us hope.
You have, and please can you come and sleep train my babies?
Thank you guys so much for joining us this week on Monday Mumday. This episode was recorded at the gorgeous Allbright in London. You can find all the details about this inspiring members club which supports women in business on at Monday Mumday and at Allbright. If you guys want to keep up with everything Chloe's getting up to, you can head over to her Instagram, Mrs. Chloe Gill, and follow her parenting journey. As you guys know, every week myself and Emma talk about a product that we're absolutely loving at the moment. So for me, I want to share with you guys the Kiko, or Chico as it looks when it's written, Poly Magic Relax. It was one of the best things that we've ever had for Knox. It gave us dinner in silence. Basically, it's a high chair that you can use from birth. It fully reclines so that if your baby needs to lie down and have a little snooze whilst you're having your coffee or whatever, they can relax. There's a toy arch to entertain them. Fully sits up, fully supportive. All the bits come apart. It folds away. It's on wheels. There basically isn't anything that it doesn't do. It's suitable from birth to 18 kilograms, retails at about £140, and it's amazing. I couldn't say anything bad. Cleans really well as long as you're on top of cleaning. But yeah, fantastic. How about you, Emma?
This week, Joey, for me, it's going to have to be the Dr. Brown's bottles.
Yeah.
Reason being is because my son Ethan suffered with colic really, really badly. And there was one day where he basically screamed for 4 hours non-stop. And a friend of mine suggested Dr. Brown's anti-colic bottles. So Danny whizzed out to the shops, went to Tesco's, grabbed it, and we fed him the second feed with that. And it was like a miracle.
Ethan really, really settled on the bottles. So yeah, that was definitely a product that I absolutely loved. It retails for about £10. And it's just a shame that Nano Baby hadn't launched at that point, because I definitely would have used them, because they've just been a joy to use with the boys. So yeah, that's my pick of the week.
Amazing. Well, thank you guys for listening. We hope you enjoyed.
Just another Monday,
So Emma, before we go, can you give me 3 reasons why you love our sponsor Nano Baby so much?
This is really easy to answer. Okay, 1, as I said earlier, they're great for stacking in the fridge. 2, you can pump them directly into your bottle using their adapter, so no risk of spilling.
Woohoo!
Yeah, and you preserve the nutrients in the breast milk as it cools down and heats up twice as fast.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Honestly though, I really wish that this brand was around when I was breastfeeding the twins. I had so much anxiety around this. I used to hate when Danny would leave and I'd have to do it all on my own, and this would have just taken all of that stress out.
And I love the fact that it's shaped like a breast for easy holding for little hands.
Yeah, the twins are currently making me do all the hard work. And so I'm hoping now they'll be able to grip onto that bottle and just toddle around drinking the milk, and I can just sit and have a cup of tea.
So whether you want to get your partner involved, you're going back to work, or you just need a break like Emma,
Yeah, I need a break.
it's the perfect companion for your breastfeeding journey.
Available in John Lewis, Mamas and Papas, and Nano Baby online.
www.nanobaby.co.uk.
Thanks for listening.